I had a really public breakup recently.
Nia Long, if she was with him for 13 years, right, and they still hadn't gotten married, but they were engaged.
And so it's been a blessing and a curse because here's what I do know.
The drama surrounding Taraji P., Henson, and Nia Long didn't explode overnight. It simmered for years, quietly building behind camera flashes and red carpet smiles, until one rumored relationship turned old tension into something far more personal. It all begins with heartbreak. Taraji had recently gone through a very public breakup, the kind that forces you to reevaluate everything. She spoke candidly about it being a wake-up call, about realizing she would have to stand on her own, ignore the noise, and stop worrying about what people had to say. The relationship had been rocky for a long time.
There was probably some underlying issues there. Maybe this was the straw that broke the camel's back. And when you are
About what anyone thinks and has to say, because the relationship was rocky for a very.
And when it finally ended, it didn't break her. If anything, it sharpened her. She made it clear that no one has the power to destroy her spirit. And maybe that renewed independence is what set the stage for what happened next. Because long before any romance rumors surfaced, Taraji and Nia had already developed a reputation for being less than friendly. Their tension traces back to Empire, when Nia Long joined the cast in Season 3 to play Lucius Lyon's ex. On screen, it felt like a cultural moment. Two powerhouse black actresses sharing scenes, trading sharp dialogue, commanding attention. Fans were excited. There was buzz that Nia might even become a permanent fixture on the show.
Okay, you're going to do this on your own, and you're going to be fine.
Right.
And you're not going to worry about
celebrity of that, being publicly humiliated. I think the stakes are a little bit higher, just like she can't embarrass him.
Potentially standing shoulder to shoulder with Taraji and Terrence Howard as a central force in the series. But almost immediately, whispers began circulating that something wasn't quite right behind the scenes. It reportedly started with a joke. Nia showed up late to set, and one of the male actors teased her about being on Black People Time, a comment that, in some circles, might have been brushed off. But Nia didn't brush it off. She snapped back. Tension rose. And then Taraji allegedly chimed in with a comment that only escalated things further, asking why Nia was so upset. From that moment on, the air between them seemed charged. Rumors painted Nia as difficult, particular about her hair, her makeup, her styling, protective of her image. She later defended herself in interviews, explaining that knowing your worth and demanding respect can easily be mislabeled as being hard to work with. She knew her light. She knew what worked for her, and she wasn't about to shrink herself to make anyone else comfortable. But as the weeks went on, the narrative grew darker. Insiders claimed that Nia had bigger ambitions for her character.
Publicly, he can't embarrass her, and when one of them breaks that promise, it is.
Can't talk me into something else.
Allegedly pitching ideas that would expand her role dramatically. Some even suggested she was eyeing Cookie Lyon's spotlight. And on a show where Cookie wasn't just a character but the heartbeat of the entire series, that was bound to cause friction. Producers reportedly shut those ideas down quickly. Cookie was already iconic, beloved, and central to the show's success. Shifting that dynamic could have unraveled everything. Not long after, it was announced that Nia would not return for the next season. From that point forward, the two women were never publicly seen together again. No red carpet reunions, no friendly selfies, just silence. And for a while, it seemed like that's where the story would end. Until Ime Udoka entered the chat. Nia Long and Ime had been together since 2010. They shared a son. They were engaged for years. To the public, they appeared solid, even if a wedding never materialized. But in 2022, everything collapsed when Ime was publicly exposed for inappropriate relationships while serving as head coach of the Boston Celtics. The scandal was humiliating. Not just a private betrayal, but a global headline. For Nia, the heartbreak wasn't just emotional. It was public. And when you're a celebrity, that kind of embarrassment cuts deeper.
Amongst the Black people.
Unless you show me. If you want to call that difficult.
Every blog post reopens the wound. Every headline feels like salt. Still, there were murmurs that she was willing to forgive him, to quietly rebuild her family away from the spotlight. But before any reconciliation could fully take shape, rumors began swirling that Taraji P. Henson had grown close to him. And suddenly, what was once professional rivalry felt intensely personal. To Nia, it may have felt like history repeating itself. First, the whispers about competition on set. Now whispers about her former fiancé. To her supporters, it looked messy, disrespectful, almost strategic. But from Taraji's perspective, the situation could look entirely different. If Nia and Ime were no longer together, what loyalty was owed? Taraji had her own heartbreak to recover from, her own life to rebuild. She had made it clear she wasn't living for public approval anymore. If she found happiness with someone who was legally and emotionally available, was that truly crossing a line? Some would argue that there's an unspoken code, especially within the same industry, especially after a rocky history. Others would say grown adults are free to make their own choices. What makes this story so compelling isn't just the rumored romance. It's the layered history, the unresolved tension, the pride, the ambition, the public humiliation. It's two accomplished women who have both fought hard for their place in an industry that rarely makes room for them, now seemingly entangled in something that feels both romantic and retaliatory at the same time. Is Taraji moving boldly into a new chapter of her life, refusing to dim herself for anyone? Or is this a calculated twist in a rivalry that never truly cooled off? And is Nia reacting out of hurt, or out of something deeper that's been brewing since those Empire days? One thing is certain, this isn't just gossip. It's about pride, heartbreak, power, and perception. And in Hollywood, perception can be everything. So what do you think? Did Taraji cross an unspoken boundary, or is Nia letting old wounds cloud her judgment? Let me know your thoughts below. And if you enjoy deep dives into the stories behind the headlines, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. There's always more beneath the surface, and trust me, this story might not be over yet.